You have an incredible new movie, The Last Rodeo, hitting theaters May 23rd. I'm always curious when it comes to you in particular, what drives you to take on certain roles? What drew you to this particular film?
Well, Billy, thanks for having me on the show again, first of all. Uh, this was, I was doing a film at the time called The Warrant. And whenever I'm on location and I'm not with Ruve, when I'm playing villains, it's fine because then I just get, play angry nutbags. But when I'm playing the hero, I'm much more sensitive. And when I was playing the hero in this film, The Warrant, I was just kind of crippled by this one thought of what would ever happen to me if something happened to Ruve. And that was kind of the genesis of the thought process of this film. And then a gift came from above, said, write a film, rock you on a bull, that you have to go back and save your grandson. You have to go back and ride again to save your grandson because he's dying of the same brain tumor that your wife died of. So where did that thought come from? I knew nothing about bull riding. And then within 24 hours, I came up with kind of an outline for the film. And then I called my writing partner. I said, let's work on this. And within a week, we had the first draft done. And a week later, we had it sold. It was, this is his divine intervention that from 2 years from the idea, it's going to be in the theater. That doesn't happen. That never happens.
That's a miracle. So, I was going to say, making a movie is a miracle, but that story that you just told of how quickly
making a movie is certainly a miracle. It's the logistics of making a film. It's hard to really comprehend unless you're there on the front lines and doing it. I'm so blessed to have my wife Ruve as my production partner, my manager, love of my life, best friend. So we do everything together. So we get to see all the ups and downs and how hard it is to actually make a film. But to have it done within 2 years and have the amazing John Avnet, who directed Fried Green Tomatoes and Up Close and Personal and television from Justified to Boomtown that we've worked on, 88 Minutes that we worked on together. To have someone of that caliber, when I asked him, would you do it? And he said, of course, I want to work with you again. Wow. There's something that, I've worked with John probably more than any other director I've ever worked with. And there's a shorthand that we have that's kind of indescribable. He's, to me, the greatest director in the history of cinema. He knows how to work with actors. He knows how to work with everyone. He's just that guy, and he protects the cast in ways that most directors don't understand. And to have him involved was just such a massive blessing.
Yeah, I've got to ask you this because even as you're talking about this, your passion for this project, but really for entertainment in general, has always been very evident. What is it that keeps you passionate about continuing to work in the entertainment realm?
Ruve jokes. She's like, okay, you can't pound a nail. You're terrible at telling a joke, but man, you can act, So I found the one thing that I'm really good at, Billy. And it's like, if you find something, if you're blessed enough in life to find something you're really great at, and I tell my kids this all the time, if you find something you love doing, do it to the best of your ability. Don't compete against anybody else. Just do it the best that you can for his glory. And if you can keep doing that, you won't worry about money. You won't worry about stuff because you're going to be enjoying your life and you're going to be doing something you want to go to work at every day and nail it and knock it out of the ball-yard.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 30, 40 years now. And I love it more today than I did yesterday. And I'll probably love it more tomorrow than I did today. And I think that's kind of like a driving force for me I'm an artist and I love being artistic with characters. I get to be a different person. I get to go to a different world while I'm an actor and dredge up my own personal stuff as a method actor, but it's an awesome journey that I have. So the other part of it is that God gave me this talent. I certainly don't want to let him down. I don't want to let an audience down. My dad told me, I've said this a billion times, when you go to Hollywood, if they give you $1, give them $2 worth of effort. And I've kind of always prided myself on working extra hard on, no matter what the project is, just being the best version of me possible because I don't want to let the audience down.
I love that.
Last Rodeo, I guarantee you this, we don't let the audience down. It's, if you love rodeo stuff, you're going to go crazy for this film. PBR backed us 100%. They gave us their bulls. They gave us their real riders.
Wow.
Doing a sports film, when you get to use the real riders and they're using their real names, validates the project. You're like, oh, I'm in a PBR world. This is great. But to me, it's the kind of the fractured relationship between father-daughter that it really kind of speaks out to every mom, dad, kid, because we all go through it. And to have my grandson have a tumor the same that my wife had, and what am I going to do? What am I prepared to do to help save his life. Well, the only thing I can think of, it's like Ruve jokes at me, you can't do anything, but man, you can act. It's the same thing with Joe Wainwright. He's not very good at anything, but man, he can ride a bull. So he goes back and rides a bull again in his 50s, which no one's ever done because you'd have to be out of your mind to get on a 2,000-pound beast and try to ride it for 8 seconds at 58 years old. So it was just, I loved this film. I love how it speaks to family. And there aren't a lot of films out there anymore where you can bring the whole family to it, not have to cover eyes or ears of some kids, or if your grandparents are there, or a lot of racy things that you don't want them to look at. The whole family gets to go see a film, be entertained, and at the end of film, make you realize, okay, what am I prepared to do to help my family? Because that's what life's about, isn't it? So we really kind of made a film that's just about life, that has a backdrop of bull riding, which is kind of awesome.
I love that. I mean, you take this exciting topic and you bring all these real life issues into The Last Rodeo that are relatable, that people are going through, whether it's that specific issue they're going through or something else. They can see the power of family and devotion and perseverance. And, you know, this guy getting back on the bull, and like you said, which is just insane and crazy. And yet being willing to do it because of that devotion to the grandson. So there's so many really cool parts of the film and the story. You mentioned a couple things there about God, and you've talked about your faith a lot. Obviously, you've been asked a million times. I've asked you a bunch of times about, you know, just your positions you've taken in Hollywood, not doing sex scenes, not doing kissing scenes, those sorts of things, and being very devoted to your faith. How have you, because I know a lot of other actors and entertainers, they sort of lose their way. How have you been able to hold on to your faith, and not just hold on to it? And I can't speak for you, but it feels like, you know, your faith is even deeper as you've gotten deeper into your years in the entertainment industry. How have you done that?
Well, I think he's put me in a certain position, and this is how I kind of look at it. He's put me in a position to show how great life can be. And I've gotten kicked to the curb. I got beaten up, and that hurt. I'm not going to, you know, when you have everything
Because of
taken
your
away
faith?
from you.
Would you say because of your faith in some ways?
Well, because I wouldn't kiss a woman in that show years ago, you know, and then I got blackballed, and then they took, you know, I lost my house and I lost everything, cars, you name it. I went bankrupt. But that kind of crucifixion was maybe the greatest gift that I've ever gotten in my life as a man. You know, the greatest gift I've ever had is my wife, Ruve, for sure. But along my travels, that at the time was so painful, and we all go through painful things in life. And then after that, I had a massive drinking problem. I just drank myself silly for 2 years because I couldn't get a job. I was bankrupt. I lost everything. And now what do I do? What am I going to do next? And then it all started to come back, and it has come back tenfold. And it's crazy how now I'm in the position where God has given me the gift of, Ruve and I are about to produce our 11th production in 4 years. How did that happen? That wouldn't have happened 10, 15 years ago. Wow. I had to be called really to my faith. Do I really believe that he is the creator, who has our back more than anything you could ever possibly imagine? Well, and I realized the answer to those questions are, yeah, he is. He's always there for us. We're not always there for him, but he's always there for us. So my job is kind of simple. You know, I can show by example that you can get through alcoholism. You can get through hard things. You can get through deaths. You can get through all the problems of life, because we all go through those problems. There isn't a single person out there who doesn't go through problems. But when you have faith, it gets you through it. And I'm in a position now where I get to do movies and TV shows and all these things. And I walk through the airports now, and people, look, Billy, I've been the villain for 20 years in television and movies.
Right.
And I have people walking up to me in airports, you know, hugging me and taking pictures and thanking me for taking a stance in life. It's overwhelming at times for me, because I'm a pretty simple guy. I like to go and do my movies where I get to be a character, but I love just coming home to my wife and kids and being with my family. That's my life, you know, or coaching them in sports or seeing my kids do well. You know, the fame and fortune part, that's the least interesting part to me of all of this. I love telling great stories, and now I get to tell great stories that entertain people, that give glory to God. Wow. I
mean, what more could you ask for? And the fact that you're I mean, I wanted to interrupt you 10 times because everything you're saying is amazing. And I'm like, wait, I mean, there's so much there. I mean, your perspective and where you are and how you're thinking is how we need to be thinking as people. But it's very hard in Hollywood and in the media and other places to, put yourself to the side and put the things that matter in the forefront. And you've done that. I mean, what you just described was a situation where you were called to live your faith out in your work. You made a decision. You were punished essentially for that position. You lost everything. And you could have at that point said, you know what? Maybe I'm going to compromise. Maybe I'm going to go back and try. And you didn't. You dug in. Yes, you had struggles, but you held to the truth and you came out on the other side and God provided for you. Would you say that that is an accurate, beyond your wildest dreams, an accurate, I guess, assessment of what you just described?
I'm the luckiest dude I know.
I love that.
It's just, I don't know how, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. There are plenty of guys in this world who are a lot smarter than I am, but I'm not dumb. I know how blessed I am to have 5 children who are fantastic, an amazing wife who's my partner and everything, and being able to do things in my creative space. And people keep saying, we want to do more movies and we're going to come and see your movies and support what you do because of who you are. Wow. That's just, it's really awesome. It really is.
So when I think about the purpose that you just spoke about, and I think about the Last Rodeo, the fact that this is a project you poured everything into, it sold fast, you made it, I mean, lightning speed in terms of how this all goes. It's a miracle to get a movie made. We talked about all of this, but when people go to the theater and they watch this film, what is it that you want everybody walking away thinking and feeling?
Life can be amazing if we have a little faith. Joe Wainwright, Sally, all the characters in this film have been tested at times. And it's faith that gets you through these situations. Anyone can get through any problem if they have faith. Faith in themselves also is, faith in God, but you got to have faith in yourself. You got to have faith in your family. You got to have faith in the process. You got to have faith that you'll get through whatever problem it is. And I don't care if you're Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, agnostic, Buddhist, it doesn't matter. I want people to go to films that we make thinking, you know what? Maybe I can try a little bit harder being a better husband. Maybe I can be a better son. Maybe I can be a better coworker. Maybe I can be whatever I'm doing. But if I can be the best version of me, then I'm making the world just a better place for my immediate surroundings. I can't control politics. Everyone asks me what kind of politics. I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like I really have a whole lot that I can say that's going to sway something one way or the other.
That's a flammable question nowadays, Neal. I don't know.
I don't know. But what I can certainly do is control, I don't know if control is the right word, but within my environment, within my family, within my friends, whatever the case is, if I'm living by examples, if I'm doing the right thing, people notice. You can say one thing, but unless you're doing it, then whatever. But if you're actually being a good person to other people, going out of your way to be nice, holding that door open for someone, letting someone go through traffic, don't get mad because somebody cuts you off, being there to help your kid, whatever those things, always striving to do the right thing. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? And now I get to write films that actually speak to those issues. And it's an amazing position that I'm in and a gift that he gave me. I don't take it for granted. Let me trust you. I don't take it for granted.
Yeah, your gratitude is incredible, and I think it's so easy to lose sight of that, especially in the industry that you're in. The film is The Last Rodeo. It hits theaters May 23rd. I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you, Billy. And look, if you guys love films like this, and I've been guilty of it, there's some really dark stuff that came out of Hollywood for the last 10 years, like oddly strange dark, and that I've been part of. But I get to pay bills. I get 5 mouths to feed, and in the life that we have. So, but if you love films like this, where you can actually bring the family to, and go to a restaurant after, or go home after, and sit around the table and say, okay, what do you think, guys? What do you think of the film? You can't do that with most films nowadays. But if you like these types of films, I'm begging you, not just because it's my film, but go out to the theaters May 23rd. Go out there Memorial Day weekend. Go see The Last Rodeo, because you'll tell Hollywood we need more films like this that are actually really cool films that have a faith backdrop. They're action, talk about family, all the things that we love. So that's all I'm asking you guys. Please go support the film, because I trust you. Trust me, it won't let you down. It's a really, really good film.
And to underscore that before we go, if you want to send that message to Hollywood, you know, a lot of people sit around complaining about the content that's out there. The best way to change that is to show up to movies like this, the Last Rodeo, every film like this, because it tells Hollywood that there's an audience, which we know there is. And so I will second that. Go out May 23rd, The Last Rodeo. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, brother. Great seeing you as always, Billy.